guys. I hope you guys can hear me. Hope I'm loud and clear here. It sounds like I am, so I'm going to go forward here and let's get started with coffee. Coffee with Chris. So, the first thing, and I'm going to wait till I guess some people get in here, but the first thing I wanted to kind of talk about is coffee with Chris. You've probably seen Tea with Gary V. There's all kinds of different ones, right? There's all these different people that are having a drink and then talking about just subjects. Well, our subject is coffee. So if you want to have coffee with anyone, it's probably going to be someone like me. Uh, and so that's actually kind of the start of this thing. This is our very first episode of Coffee with Chris, and that's kind of my point is we're going to talk about coffee as the main subject line here, and there's going to be a few other things that we talk about. If you're following me on YouTube, I've told you guys I wanted to really kind of do a live show for you so that you guys can get a lot more questions answered quickly, as well as I can do kind of more quicker videos as well, if you will, here at the home studio. And so that's kind of what I've created and where we're going with things. Not to say we're not doing anything more with Hot Shots TV or any of that. That's going to always be there. But I want to have other options for you guys to kind of follow along. This also allows us to really get some feed out there for you guys on Facebook who want to know more about who I am, more about our business in general. And then also, hopefully, we can give you some coffee tips and things like that as well. So you're watching these things on different platforms, but some of them might not be information for you guys across all platforms. But I think you're gonna have some fun here as we do these Coffee with Chris. I'm planning them to be every Friday morning around this time, 10 a.m. And kind of just a little bit of fun before we go into the weekend. And really just kind of find out more information. I love to get some of your guys' questions when I do these episodes and do this show. So please feel free. I'm going to monitor Facebook and YouTube as much as possible on here so I can get your questions and I can give you guys some kind of live feedback and answer anything that you guys really, really have to ask. So we're going to talk about coffee in general. I'm going to try to put this together in kind of a nice outline. Coffee, news, and then events. Really, events is talking about anything that has to do with kind of our industry, as well as really talking about things that we've done, things that are going on with Hot Shots. So there's going to be a little bit of mix of everything in here. And so if you're someone who's into my channels, I think you're going to love what I have to talk to you about. And this will just be kind of one of these weekly things. If you've noticed too, our YouTube channel, if you're watching from YouTube, normally I put out a YouTube video every Monday. Sometimes we miss a Monday or so, but I'm really working hard to get better at that to where I'm really producing content for you guys on YouTube. Every Monday is kind of where I want to release the main videos once a week. And then Fridays will be Coffee with Chris, and then we'll probably do some videos here and there between some live feeds and stuff between the middle of the week. So more like for Wednesdays and things like that, or Tuesdays, or maybe even Thursdays. I'm going to do probably a live kind of just maybe story time or something like that too. So anyways, that's kind of the information I wanted to give you about Coffee with Chris and where we stand right now. And what this show is going to all be about is coffee, weekly news, hopefully more coffee news. There's not a lot of coffee news going on right now due to COVID and everything else. So there's not any big headliners really, but something I'll talk about here in a little bit is just the general idea of how things are going with COVID and coffee. And then events, things that are going on here with Hot Shots and what we're trying to do to produce better and great content for you guys to follow along. Along with questions, I'm going to have a question of the week for you guys. So I'd love for you guys to chime back, leave comments, and let me know what your answers are to the question of a week, and probably even following the next Coffee with Chris Friday is I'll probably ask you guys for answers for that as well. So let's get started. Let's first talk about the coffee that I'm drinking today. I want to make every episode of this is you're actually seeing me drink some coffee. This is actually one of my favorite mugs. It's called Jack's Carrots. It's a really cute, kind of cool mug here. I don't know how much you can see this, but it has little baby carrots on it. And then inside there you can see there's a little rabbit, which I think is really cool. And so what I am drinking here today, and something I wanted to talk about, is there's some really interesting new coffees that I'm finding slowly making it to the market more with the K-Cup style coffees. And I know if you've watched me on YouTube and you're watching me on Facebook, you know, some of the main things here is I like to talk about K-Cup coffees. I like to review K-Cups. I don't think K-Cups get a lot of credit. And if you know me, you know, generally I don't kind of try to put you in a certain area of coffee. I like high-end coffees. I love the Italian espresso. That's kind of my go-to. I love Kona coffee. But at the same time, I think for most people out there, they just want a coffee that's good, quick, something they can quickly grab. And so, you know, you see my reviews with the coffee machines, with the K-Cup brewers, with Walmart's style of brewers. I feel like a majority of Americans out there who might watch my content, that's kind of the machines and equipment that they would purchase. And so I don't see a lot of content on there. I see a lot of, you know, I don't want to say coffee snob content, but there's a lot of stuff out there that's more geared towards people who just want, what's the best espresso? What's the top of the line espresso? What's the top of the line coffee? What's going to cost me, you know, all this money? Which is interesting, which is great. And not to say that there's not a difference between really good coffee, but there's also practical coffee that you drink every day. And I think K-Cup is one of the brands that really falls in line with that. So one of the K-Cups that I've been seeing recently and what I decided to purchase, my fiance actually brought this K-Cup home not that long ago. And I know a lot of people love this stuff. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's Donut Shop. And it's a K-Cup. I mean, you see this stuff at Walmart, any of your local grocery stores. It's really popular from what I can tell. But she brought home this vanilla latte. And what I'm finding with these K-Cups, what's interesting now is that they're combining not just the coffee and the K-Cup, but now they're even putting in powdered milk and flavorings into that K-Cup that now creates a latte experience. And I tell you what, I tried that one. It kind of surprised me of how good I liked it. It has a very unique taste, but I will say it is overly sweet to me when you drink it long term. And the way we make drinks here at Hot Shots, that's kind of a big no-no. We want you to have a great experience with your cup of coffee, and we want it to be just sweet enough that you can enjoy it throughout the whole time you're drinking your coffee, not to just drink it half full like we know a lot of those great coffee shops in America do. Not going to mention names. But anyways, so I digress. I like to have just great lattes and coffee. And though it's not traditionally a latte, you know, in the sense of espresso, it is a K-Cup with coffee in it. And there's really no pressure or anything involved in that, as far as I know. But it does produce a nice latte. And I don't know if they have any other flavors, to be honest with you, because I looked on at the grocery store and different stores for these products now with this milk in the K-Cup. And there's not a lot out there. So I figured, you know, let's talk about it. The ones that I picked up recently, though, are actually the Javalia K-Cups, and these actually come with a little packet here that actually has condensed powdered milk in it. And so it's pretty interesting. Now the one I'm actually drinking right here is actually a cappuccino from Javalia, and it does have foam on it, which is kind of interesting. When it was first brewed, it did have it still does. It still has some foam on top. I wouldn't say it's like your traditional cappuccino, but I will say it isn't bad. It isn't terrible. What these really remind me of, and so here's the cappuccino one. I'm sorry, I showed you the caramel macchiato one here as well. And so the difference between these here is really that they are they're probably closest along lines as the coffee that you get at the gas station, and then you go over to that little cappuccino dispenser and you hit the button and the milk comes out. Because realistically, those, I hate to tell you, those are powdered as well in most cases. So it's a very similar experience. I'm not saying that to be negative. I'm just telling you exactly what that coffee experience is. And so the flavor profiles are there for both of them. I think they're pretty good. They're a little sweet. The cappuccino has a little bit of sweetness to it. It's not just powdered milk. And then the caramel macchiato actually wasn't too bad either, but you could definitely tell it's going to be more like, your coffee from the gas station with that powdered milk taste to it. And if you know what I'm talking about, if you've ever had one, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's a lot of kind of artificial taste to the actual cream or milk that's in the product, or in the coffee, and it just makes it a different experience. But I will say, if you are interested, I think long term, I think these products are going to get better. The K cup with the milk produced in them, and that's different. So this one right here, the Javalia with the milk and the K cup are separate packets, whereas with the Donut Shop Vanilla Latte, this is actually inside. The milk's already inside the K-Cup, so you just drop in a K-Cup. Whereas these, you take the packet, open it, put it in the cup first, then you put the coffee and brew the K-Cup coffee on top. So, yeah, that's basically it on that. I think that it's a good product. I'm anxious to see. I think in the next couple of years, you're going to see more and more of this style product with the K-Cup line. And I think it's a good approach to getting people lattes at home without spending a lot of money either. These, I think, were price point pretty much the same price as a standard box of K-Cups. So, that's kind of a good thing too, is if they can meet the same price, you can now have kind of a good latte that you can make at home, and you don't need a fancy espresso machine or anything else to make it. So I see the coffee market really going that direction in general anyways. And that's kind of the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about. So, I was reading an article today, and I'm not going to pull it up here, but basically I was reading an article talking about how, everyone in the coffee industry is, kind of coming up with new ways to kind of help people learn about coffee and things of that nature. And something I thought was really interesting is nowadays people are talking about how coffee shops are creating online courses and classes to teach you more about coffee. And I think that's a very powerful thing. I think a lot of people, you go to your fancy coffee shop, but you never know what to order. You don't know what you want. And I believe we're going to do some more videos on that topic as well. But that was something that I read and I wanted to mention to you guys about in the coffee news today, is that in general, in Italy and some of these other places, for instance, Starbucks just moved into Italy, Milan, and some of those other places. In the last couple of years, they've been kind of putting themselves into the Italian market. And what's interesting is some people have been fearful it's going to take away from the Italian coffee. And if you know what Italian coffee is, and if you've ever been to Italy, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But it's just something that's different. Lattes are different here, Americanized at Starbucks, than they are in Italy. And so there was kind of a fear for that. But now it's becoming more of, a learning experience, more people wanting to understand and learn about coffee. And so now there's Italian coffee shops and stuff teaching people, even coffee shops here in the US, more teaching people about the different styles of coffee, different types of lattes, what is in a latte, what are these different types of coffees, where do they come from? One of the things that's interesting to me is, a cappuccino, I've been told, from northern Italy compared to southern Italy in different parts is totally different temperatures, different way they make them. That's why I always say, I don't get too technical on the coffees that are being made. If you like a coffee a certain style the way you are, I don't think there should be hate or anything for someone to have something that they like. Anyways, we're all about learning. This channel is all about teaching and learning about coffee in general. And so I think I like the direction that people are going. I would love to see more fancy coffee shops explain what they're doing, especially roasters. I love roasters to really kind of come out and explain to their audience, what makes their roast different than everyone else's roast. I think a lot of people just jump on the bandwagon, especially here where I'm at in Dallas. There's several handful of roasters out there, and people just automatically like the coffees, and it's all marketing. It has nothing to do with the skill, has nothing to do with where the beans come from or anything like that. It's like, hey, we are so-and-so coffee roaster, and you're going to love our coffees. And, people who don't have a lot of knowledge in coffee, they just take all that for granted. Whereas someone like me and a lot of the people that I work with, suppliers and everyone else, we talk about these roasters, we talk about these different coffee shops behind the scenes. And it's really like, why do people like this? Or this is really good. Why isn't more people loving this? And so anyways, that's kind of the long and short of it. Is I'm glad to see people actually teaching instead of just promoting themselves and talking about coffee in general. So the other thing I want to talk about is lately, and this is more for my folks here on Facebook that are kind of watching me with our business here at Hot Shots, is the other big thing in news, and you guys on YouTube probably know this as well, is there's been an increase in mandate for masks to be worn. I talked about this a little bit on my last live show here when we did the live Hot Shots Live. And it was more about just talking about, if you're a professional, you should just automatically wear the mask. And then I got into a little bit of the ethical things about it and talking about, it's going to come down to a point now where people are really struggling to stay afloat business-wise, and they got to make a decision. If there's someone out there that, for instance, a wedding, the bride and groom and all the family do not want them to wear a mask, they're going to have to make a decision whether to do it or not. Venues are going to have to make a decision whether to host that couple or not. If it could turn out that it could hold them liable for them not wearing masks and have a fine or anything like that if someone gets sick. So my big thing is, though, going off of that from what we talked about last week, is really talking about, I'm seeing a lot of people shaming other people for what they're doing. And the main thing I just want to talk about is, listen, we're all in this pandemic together. And I really think we all kind of need to focus on our own things, and we really need to focus on helping each other instead of stuff that I'm seeing where people are out there posting, hey, so-and-so company's not wearing a mask, let's shame them. How do I turn them in or whatever? And I keep seeing this kind of talk about this stuff. And I'm just, overall, I'll just be honest with you, I'm a little frustrated to see that the industry that I'm a part of is starting to have a lot of hate behind people who might really struggle and need some money right now. So they're going to ethically go to the point to where they don't want to wear a mask. Or if, in a lot of cases, a lot of people feel like, hey, the government has let them down in a lot of ways with this whole mask mandate. No one did it from the start, so now they're telling you to do it now. And I get it. A lot of people are really frustrated and confused on this. But I think the even bigger point that I want to make with this is regardless whether mask or not mask, talking about this, throwing it in your feed every day, where you have probably customers that are sitting there, you're adding fear and emotion and problems to a lot of people who don't need to be fearful about this whole situation. And so I think it's important that we focus on really calming down this situation. And the only way that that's going to happen is it starts with you, your feed, what you say, and really get people to focus on how can we get through this better. You know, I've been saying this whole time, people should be wearing masks. If you are a professional, you should be wearing a mask, because I don't know how you can call yourself a professional if you don't care about keeping your customers safe. That doesn't make sense to me personally. Now, whether I decide to wear a mask or not when I go to the grocery store later on, that's on me. And I'm just generalizing that. I've been wearing a mask, but I'm just saying, you know, really people are going to have to come up to this. But when it comes down to business, business is business. And I think a lot of you guys out there need to really focus on that and really take to the point that you need to focus on your customers, and you need to start caring more about your customers and making sure that they feel safe and comfortable, instead of everyone talking about this thing and blowing it up out of, in my opinion, a lot of cases, out of proportion. If you're doing the right thing, worry about you, get everything taken care of, and care for your customers. That's pretty much the main thing I want to say. But I'd love to see more of our customers come to us, book us for weddings, book us for corporate events. But the only way they're going to do that is they need to feel comfortable in doing that. So I'm going to pretty much leave that at that. And so that's pretty much it for the news. Now, if you've watched my video, check down below here if you're on Facebook. And if you're not on Facebook, I really love for you guys who are on YouTube, come over to my Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Hot Shots Catering. And so you'll be able to find our Facebook page, but you'll see different posts. Every different thing that we do on social media is different from the next one, if you will. So it's always good. I always recommend you guys come over to Facebook if you're on YouTube. If you're on my Facebook, you should go over and check us out on YouTube, because we do a TV series, or we do an episode I wouldn't say a TV series, but we do an episode, weekly episode, for Hot Shots TV, and it's normally something really fun and cool. So the other thing I was going to talk about is actually for my wedding people out there. And so this is called the Black Tux. And this is something that I just want to take a minute and talk about. And where I was going with this is, if you follow along in the video below, on my Facebook page, for us here at Hot Shots, I did a video of me with the tux on that I got from the Black Tux. Now, I'm not affiliated with them at all. I have I'm not being paid. I'm not really even supporting that brand. But it's something I wanted to talk about, just to kind of get you guys, if you missed it, check out that video. But the only thing I wanted to talk about it is for you guys out that are getting married, you brides out there that are getting married, you guys have figured out your dress by now and kind of got everything going with that. If you have, or even if you have it, don't forget about the guy in your life, because the groomsman needs to look good too, and the groom, I should say. And you know, I feel like in the wedding world, maybe it's not a big deal, but it's kind of, for guys, at least for me, it's kind of like, yeah, I'll get my tux whenever, you know, and you don't put a lot of thought into it. And I know there's guys out there that probably won't put a lot of thought into it. I want to say, you guys out there, you want to look good on your wedding day. You're going to have pictures that are going to last a lifetime. You want everything to look good. I brought up the Black Tux because when I started looking for a tux, I wanted something different. I just didn't want like a Men's Warehouse black tux. There's nothing wrong with that, but I wanted something a little bit different. And I know a lot of the millennial guys out there are probably kind of the same thing. They want to have something different than what their dad and grandfather wore at their wedding. And maybe not. Regardless of who you are and what you want, a couple things I'll tell you. There's a big area now online for you to actually get your tux, rent it really inexpensively, get it shipped to you for fitting, which is why I was talking about the black tux, because they actually have like a within 14 days you can get a free shipment of the tuxedo to you, try it on, make sure it fits well, and then you can send it back, and then you can book your tux for your wedding, and it will arrive 14 days before the wedding. So I think that's really cool. But regardless, you guys out there, if your wedding's coming up, like mine is here in September, you need to get on that tux thing, and you really need to make sure that you're fitted for your tux, look good. Don't just go in your closet and make sure that everything is, a guess that it's going to work out and you're just going to do it last minute. Get it done now. Make sure you look good. If you want your fiance to see you, great. I would recommend that. That's what I did. But, just make sure you look good and everything will go perfectly well. So, but if I could recommend anything, I'll say the black tux. I got it. It came within 14 days. I got to try it on and everything kind of worked out. But, check out the video below that I'm talking about, and that will make a little bit more sense to you guys as well. The other thing I want to talk about is there is some things. So a lot of you guys have been following along my feeds. Also on YouTube, we talk about this a lot, is we talk about shophotshots.com. And so you guys, I wanted to just kind of go over one of the newer things. We're selling PPE products as well now. And really, I talked about this in the last live, is we're selling the PPE products not really for us to make a big profit or anything on it, but we have PPE products in stock for us. We've been very thankful that we had a supplier that we were working with our coffee industry and everything else, and they've all carried over to PPE products really early. So we were able to kind of get in with these suppliers and be able to get some great products even before anyone else even had them. And so one of the things is actually this guy right here. Now this is a thermo flash unit, and I never really showed anybody this in demo, but it's one of these head scanners. And one of the biggest complaints I hear with people with these units is these infrared thermometers is when they use it, it actually takes too long to scan. It's not as accurate, blah, 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 blah. This is actually one of the highest rated ones online. And we got this guy. We got a couple of these left. And basically, you just hold it to your head and hold it down. And it's that quick. Now, I'm going to change the mode. You can change the mode to body, room, and surface, which I think is really cool. But I put it on this body mode here. And I don't think you guys will be able to see that. But basically, you can see here. I mean, when you hear that beep, that's how quick it is. I'm at 98. So, obviously it's a surface temperature. So if you're outside sweating or whatever, the temperature is going to be a little bit off. But as far as just a great little handy thing for scanning and scanning your temperatures, this thing so far has been great. And we got a lot of these in stock. If you're interested in this, go out to shophotshots.com if you need any of these thermal temperature scanners. We also have sanitizer. As you should know by now, we have our lavender and lemongrass sanitizer. We got a ton of this in stock left. We're going to have this throughout probably the next couple years, if not longer. This is something that I've created, put it all together here. It's very moisturizing and hydrating for your hands, and it smells fantastic. I joke because when this first came out, I went to Quick Trip one night, like at 12 o'clock in the morning, and I was just getting out of work, and I just put some on my hands, and now I use it all the time. I put it on my hands, put it on a steering wheel right before I go in anywhere and when I come out. And I went inside, and the guy behind the the checkout clerk was like, man, I don't say this, and I don't want to say this and sound different or what have you. But he says, you know, you smell great. What is that you're wearing or whatever? And I said, oh, it's actually just my hand sanitizer. And we both kind of laughed. And then a couple nights later, I got some, and I took it over there and dropped them off, just because those guys are, you know, they're working late nights at Quick Trip. They got all kinds of hands exchanging and touching and money and everything else. So I just gave them a couple, and I think they've really enjoyed that hand sanitizer. So anyways, that is our hand sanitizer. Lavender and lemongrass both have antibacterial properties to them, but it's just a great sanitizer that keeps your hands nice and soft, as opposed to a lot of those other just straight alcohol ones, which we sell those as well, and we sell the gel. So liquid and gel, we have them both, and we even have gallon jugs if you need it for your place of business or what have you. All going to be on shophotshots.com. And then lastly is, if you haven't tried our event blend coffee yet, I think you're going to need to. This coffee, we work straight with plantations, one of the biggest plantations that owns several in Colombia. And we've worked with them. We've been able to kind of private label our own brand and everything with their coffee. And now we're using this for all of our events. This is our go-to coffee that we use when we just brew straight coffee for your event. And I tell you what, it's some of the best coffee. I wouldn't even put our name on it if it wasn't really good. Very, very low acidity, very, very rich and bold. And to me, this is the coffee that you want if you have a coffee shop, if you have a restaurant, if you have just a place of work and you just want to have good cups of coffee every day. This event blend coffee is really some of the best stuff that you can buy. It's not anything that you can get at the grocery store. It's not going to have the same taste. It's definitely something really good, really bold. And then, you know, we put the back, we put my notes on the back, what I think. And I tell you a little bit about, I even have brewing instructions on here, and we do a nice little stamp seal on the back of every bag. So it's a beautiful bag, beautiful product. And if you love coffee and you haven't tried it yet, it's also on shophotshots.com. So check it out there. And then, you know, make sure, if you haven't been out to shophotshots.com, or maybe you have and you're like, hey, right now there's not any deals going on. I try to do deals pretty much all the time. So definitely check out the different deals and things that are going on shophotshots.com, and don't be afraid to check back. Maybe one of the products you want to buy is on there. It's just not on sale yet. Or maybe the next time you get on there, it will be on sale. So other than that, let me check. I want to make sure if you guys have asked any questions, you know, please feel free to ask questions. I see Valerie and Cecilia are always one of my great followers and loving what I do, and I love them very much. So I want to say thank you and shout out to you guys. Come back with your coffee questions. Definitely let me know if you guys have any coffee questions. And just checking in on my YouTube feed. I don't really have any questions yet. So you guys, make sure you ask me some questions as you watch this video. I'd love to get some feedback and hear more from you guys. And especially if you've been watching my YouTube channel, us at Hot Shots at YouTube, and you've been seeing the Hot Shots TV. I know you guys have tons of questions, and I answer them pretty much all the time, and maybe that's why you don't have a lot of questions, is you guys ask a lot of great questions on the YouTube channel, in the videos, in the comments, and you guys, I got to tell you, I'm only at probably 250, well, I think we're over 250 now subscribers on YouTube, and I got to tell you, when I started this channel on YouTube, Hot Shots TV, which is only less than a year old now, I really struggled thinking that anyone was going to watch what I had to put out there. And you guys have came in. I think I have 10,000 plus views on one of my videos. And that might not be a lot, that's not a Shane Dawson or any of these big YouTubers, a PewDiePie or anyone like that. But to me, for being someone that's in a niche market and just has a love for coffee and wants to share that and learn that with you guys, it's a big honor to me. So I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Anyone who is out there watching this, for taking a few minutes out of your day, especially on a Friday, and checking out this video and live stream. I really appreciate it. But with that, I want to hear feedback, negative or positive. I always like to get feedback from you guys. So let me know any questions you guys have, because I want to kind of find more and listen more about what you guys have to say. So with that, I want to wish you guys a happy 4th of July this weekend. You guys stay safe, and wear your masks and just be smart about things. There's all kinds of craziness going on right now. And, the main thing is we all got to be there for each other. The only way we're going to get through this together is being together, but separately together, six feet apart, I should say. And so, have a good time, but let's all be smart about everything that we're doing. And then for the question, I want to know for you guys, for the question this week, what I want to know is, what are you guys doing to stay calm? And so that's the question. We're now 3 going into 4 months of this. Some of us, like us, we've been impacted for almost 4 or 5 months now. What are you doing to stay calm? And give me your feedback on the next episode. Between now and then, leave some questions, comments down below in this video. Let me know what your questions are, and then I'll answer them, pull some of them up for next week, and like to know, what are you doing at home or wherever you're at to stay calm? Do you meditate? Do you draw? Do you think? Do you type? Maybe you're writing right now. Maybe you're a business owner like me and you're investing a lot more time and effort into the business in times when you're really busy, you don't have time to do. So what are you doing right now to stay calm? That's what I want to know. Other than that, guys, I want to say thank you again for joining me. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you guys next week, and we will have a Hot Shots video coming out, Hot Shots TV coming out before probably next week. I want you guys to take a look. It's going to be actually something that has to do with the S&B, if you know what I'm talking about. And it's a product that they launched that I wanted to kind of do a review on. So that's probably going to be one of the next videos for you guys on Hot Shots TV. So check it out and follow us. Last thing, follow us. If you're not following us on YouTube, follow us on YouTube. Hot Shots Catering is pretty much my tag for everything. You could throw that in the search of almost everything, and you will be able to find us. Facebook/Hot Shots Catering. We're even on TikTok now. Hot Shots Catering. Check us out. I got a few videos up there as well. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a great Friday. Have a great 4th of July, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much.